Last time I spent a week in Tennessee and North Carolina and rode the Dragon before jumping in the bus and getting on the Blue Ridge Parkway and riding all the way up to Virginia. If you don't live in the South, you probably are not aware of the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's probably one of the best kept secrets in the U.S., and only the people that live in the area tend to drive it and experience the wonders of the Blue Ridge Parkway. Believe it or not, the parkway stretches almost 500 miles across 2 states and runs almost entirely on the crest of the Blue Ridge Mountains. If you notice the following map, it looks like it's oriented towards the north, but it's actually running northeast. And you can see from some of the stopping points on the map that there are tons of things to see, lots of visitor centers, more overlooks and stops than you can possibly see in a week, but I suggest that you try to see as much as you can. While I have ridden sections of the Blue Ridge Parkway many times over the years on a motorcycle, I have only ridden the entire length of the parkway on my motorcycle 2 times, and it was quite the struggle getting up and down the parkway in the allotted time that I had. 2 to 3 days is pretty difficult because it's a long journey and sometimes there's traffic. And this is a good example of one of the pull-offs. Typically you can see further than this, but this is a pretty good example. Very well built roads, very well maintained pull-offs. There's trash cans. There's not a lot of toilet stops, so you have to be careful and mindful of small bladders and things like that. But if you're traveling in an RV, that should not be a problem for you. As far as I know, there's one big campground, Mount Pisgah, and I would highly recommend that you make reservations if you plan on staying there, because the 2 times that I've made an attempt to stop there in the middle of the night, they've always been full. And I'm guessing that's just because there's not a lot of stuff around the parkway, although it runs very close to quite a few mid-sized cities. They're several miles off the parkway, so typically it'll take you 15-20 minutes to get from a connecting road down into a town. And there's a few conveniences, campground, stuff like that off the parkway, but as far as I know, Pisgah is the only fully staffed campground. And so I would say maybe plan ahead. Their website, the Park Service website, is stock full of information, so that's a good place to start if you're planning a journey. But there's so much to see. There's so many great places to stop and look. There's another one. It's just scattered all over the place. I remember stopping at a log cabin that was an old country home that has been restored. There's all kinds of attractions along the parkway to stop and gather in the culture of the region, the history. There's just so much stuff to do. Usually I'm blazing through here, and this was really no different. Just kind of trying to get from one point to the other, but this is the best way to do it. The other option is rolling down an interstate, which you can find anywhere. But 469 miles, I mean, how can you beat this? With the relaxing views, when you get tired, there's something amazing on the side of the road to pull off. I've pulled off on the side of the road just to lay in the grass for a few minutes, just lay in the shade, and I've camped along the parkway. I call it stealth camping. I'll put a link. A couple of times I've stealth camped along the parkway, and it's been some of the most interesting experience being that close to the highway. You know, after the sun goes down, there's not a lot of traffic, but I think it's probably my adventures on the side of the road in the woods on the parkway are probably frowned upon, but you know, there's it's called adventure for a reason. And I'm not sure that there's anything better than stopping on the side of the road with a vista like this and making lunch and hanging out in a beautiful location like this. Just nothing quite like it.
Once again, it's a sweltering 74 degrees and 38% humidity. I don't know how you guys are surviving down there. I'm going to continue thriving up here.
Join me next time as I seek out and find the best Skoolie camping spot in West Virginia.